So you're pretty early on all this and been investing a lot into it over the last 6 years. And we'll talk about just how much with, the launch of True CBN and all the clinical work going into that. Um, but like, what was it about CBN in the very early days that made you be like, yep, this is the one and we're going to throw
Yeah.
what was that how it went? It's like 6 years from now, we're going to be talking to the FDA and we'll be on the verge of creating supplements and medicine and all that kind of stuff because it's not CBD or THC.
Yeah, no, there's a little bit of stumbling forward in this one. I would say and I actually was not the founder of FloraWorks. The company was created. There was a chemist that believed that CBN was an interesting molecule and wanted to work on manufacturing that. And I came in as an advisor to help them. And the company moved forward for almost 2 years. And then the investors that had stepped in when I had stepped in to fund that asked me to take over. So that was the point in which it was kind of a pivotal moment of, well, what are we really doing here? How does the supply chains look for this? The market for CBN is still arguably not that big.
Mm-hmm.
There's more productive capacity today than there is consumption for CBN. It's still relatively nascent, and fits into the edible market really well.
Probably because most people aren't doing effective doses.
Yeah, no, I mean there's plenty to come. I think in terms of what doses is really effective for products. I think that's going to translate across all minor cannabinoid. I don't like the word minor cannabinoid, I suppose, but just cannabinoids in general. It was basically just taking a look when I stepped in as a CEO role to say, well, what do these other markets look like, and why are cannabinoids not being accepted into mainstream channels for wellness and well-being, or drugs? At that time, Epidiolex, there was a clear path. It's like, in theory, you could go down the path of proving a cannabinoid effective. The cost is extreme, and Epidiolex was a very long, slow, and expensive road to get that approved. But they paved the path in theory and showed that there was at least some level of friendliness at the FDA to approve a cannabinoid. And so it was just trying to say, what can we do to, again, improve consumer interest and trust in these products? Stigma is always a hard thing in this industry. And surprisingly enough, as someone who's been in this industry all these years, there's still quite a bit out there, of stigma that we face for these compounds. So doing anything we could to get rid of that stigma or kind of soften it so that people could see that these things are safe and that they are effective, and proving where they were. And so it was kind of luck, back to your question, that CBN was the molecule. And in my view now, CBN, I think, is going to be one of the most important cannabinoids in the family of cannabinoids out there when it comes to therapeutics and wellness. It's got unique polypharmacology to it that we've kind of discovered through a handful of different research initiatives. Sleep is great, and that's unique, and it stands out amongst cannabinoids as a sleep molecule, and has unique mechanisms that we believe are part of its sleep effect there that don't show up in other places. And some of the research that we've seen that was not done by us, but we've just written a paper that we're putting in for peer review right now, basically looking at the totality of sleep research around CBN over the years and kind of synthesizing that into a current state of the science. And things like THC can have perceived improvement with sleep, but generally will show REM sleep or architecture decline in sleep. And studies that have looked at CBD with CBN generally have shown that CBD will inhibit the sleep effect of CBN, or diminish it, and that CBD by itself is kind of hit or miss, and it's not a heavily supported sleep aid.